Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle a really important topic: how to understand and, more importantly, lower high triglycerides. We've synthesized a clear strategy based on what the experts are saying. So, picture this. You just left the doctor's office, you're looking at your lab results, and bam, there it is. A high triglyceride number staring back at you. If that sounds familiar, trust me, you are in exactly the right place. And hey, if you're feeling a little worried, just know you are not alone in this, not by a long shot. According to nutritional science expert Kite Mothaner, nearly 1 out of every 3 Americans has triglyceride levels that are higher than they should be. So yeah, this is a really, really common issue. All right, so what's the first thing you hear? Cut back on fat, right? Avoid those fatty foods. But what if that advice is just plain wrong, or at least missing the biggest part of the picture? What if the real bad guy is hiding where you'd least expect it, maybe even in foods you think are healthy? Let's dig in. All right, let's get right into it. First things first, what is this number we're even talking about? What does high triglycerides actually mean? So, triglycerides are basically a type of fat, or lipid if you want to get technical, that's just floating around in your blood. And as Dr. Ken Berry explains, doctors start to get concerned when that number climbs above 150 milligrams per deciliter. Simple as that. You know, we hear so much about LDL, the bad cholesterol, right? It gets all the headlines. But here's a bombshell, and this comes from Kate Mulfaner. High triglycerides are actually more strongly linked to heart attacks than high LDL is. Let that sink in. This isn't some minor detail. It's a huge health marker we really, really need to be watching. And look, the risks here are no joke. We're talking about a seriously increased risk of heart attack and stroke. If those levels get way, way out of control, like above 500, you could even be looking at a dangerous, life-threatening inflammation of your pancreas. And to top it all off, when triglycerides are high, your good HDL cholesterol is almost always low. It's like a double whammy. Okay, now we're getting to the absolute heart of the matter. This next part might just flip everything you thought you knew about diet and fat on its head. And here it is. This is the single most important takeaway from Dr. Berry, and it changes the entire conversation. He says it flat out. Eating fat does not cause high triglycerides. So the fat you eat isn't the main reason for the fat in your blood. Wild, right? So you're probably asking, if it's not the fat I'm eating, then what the heck is it? Well, the answer is sugar. It's all about a sugar overload. See, when you eat way more sugar and refined carbs than your body needs for immediate energy, your liver has to step in. It takes that extra sugar, does this incredible little conversion, and turns it into fat. Yep, triglycerides. And then it just pumps them right out into your bloodstream. So let's make this crystal clear. It's the cookies, the sodas, the white bread, the big glasses of fruit juice. That's the stuff your liver is busy turning into blood fat. It's not the healthy fats like avocado or olive oil. The primary driver is excess sugar and carbs, period. Okay, so now that we know the real cause, the path forward gets a whole lot clearer, doesn't it? Let's break down a super simple 3-part food strategy to get this handled. Okay, step 1, and this is the big one. You've got to cut the main supply line. That means getting rid of the obvious stuff, right? The sugary drinks, the candy, the cakes. But you also have to become a bit of a detective. You got to start checking labels for all those hidden sugars lurking in sauces, salad dressings, cereals, and even some yogurts. The whole goal here is just to drastically bring down your total carb intake. All right, next up, let's bring in some reinforcements. Think of these as your strategic helpers. We're talking about soluble fiber, omega-3s from fish, and MCT oil. They've all been shown to help lower triglycerides, each in their own special way. And get this, Kate Mulfaner points out that just 4 grams of omega-3s from fish can slash your triglycerides by as much as 30%. That's huge. And the way soluble fiber works is actually pretty brilliant. Dr. Pal explains it like this. It forms this gel-like substance in your gut. This gel then traps something called bile, which your body makes from cholesterol, and it basically escorts it right out of your system. So what happens? Your liver has to make new bile, and to do that, it has to pull cholesterol out of your bloodstream. It's an incredibly clever and effective process. All right, number 3 on our food fix list, alcohol. And the experts are really clear on this one. Kate Malfenner points to research showing that for every single ounce of alcohol you drink, your triglycerides can spike by 5 to 10%. Just think about that. For a lot of people, just cutting back on alcohol or cutting it out completely is an absolute game changer. Okay, we're almost there. Let's talk about the final piece of the puzzle, because it turns out what you do when you're not eating can be just as important as what you eat. Habit number 1 is intermittent fasting. Now, all this really means is you create a specific time window for eating each day and a longer window where you're not eating. What's so powerful about this? Well, during that fasting period, your body has no choice but to start burning its stored energy for fuel. And guess what that includes? Triglycerides. It's one of the best ways to tackle something called insulin resistance, which is tied directly to high triglycerides. And habit number 2 is something so many of us push to the side: sleep. And this isn't just about feeling less tired. There was a study that found people sleeping less than 5 hours a night have a significantly higher risk of high triglycerides. The connection is direct, it's powerful, and it's measurable. And if you're thinking, okay, but how do I get better sleep? Here's one super simple, actionable tip you can literally start tonight. That blue light from your phone, your TV, your computer, it messes with melatonin, the hormone that helps you sleep. So just try to put those screens away for an hour or two before you hit the sack. Or maybe grab a pair of those blue light blocking glasses. It can make a huge difference. So there you have it. The whole strategy is laid out. You know the real cause isn't the fat on your plate, it's the excess sugar. You've got a 3-part food fix and 2 powerhouse habits to get started with. You have all the information you need. So the only real question left is, what's your first step going to be?